Yep, that's definitely a fight response. I don't think you needed my professional opinion about that, but it's definitely fight, not flight. Hello, we're watching Demon Slayer today, and I'm going to use it to explain polyvagal theory to you. For those of you who don't know what polyvagal theory is, it's basically a way of explaining how the nervous system responds to cues of safety and danger. So it's kind of a more sophisticated explanation than just fight or flight when it comes to understanding how the nervous system responds to threats. If you have experienced any kind of trauma, or even if you suffer from anxiety or depression, it is useful to understand polyvagal theory because it helps you to have a deeper understanding of what is actually going on in your nervous system when you are experiencing various symptoms. You can see here from this graph, we've got the green zone, which is when you feel safe and regulated. We've got the yellow zone, which is when you're in your fight or flight sympathetic nervous system response. And we've got the red zone when you are in a shutdown collapse response. Now, we're going to watch an episode of Demon Slayer where we see the characters go through these stages so that I can illustrate to you what it actually looks like. Polyvagal theory was developed by a guy named Stephen Porges. I will put a link to his website down below. And I also, before I start this video, want to give a huge shout out to Deb Dana, who is a therapist and an educator. And if it was not for her trainings on polyvagal theory, I would not be able to understand it as well as I do. So I will also put a link to some of her resources down below. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the video. My name is Catherine, I'm a licensed therapist, and this is your weekly dose of nerd therapy.
You're all set to head home again. Do you need help with anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Hang on! Don't you interfere! That girl is madly in love with me! The two of us are gonna get married! Wait, come back! Please!
Would you give it a rest already?
Why did you have to get in my way? This had nothing to do with you!
Okay, so you can see that Tanjiro is in the green zone. He is regulated. He's feeling pretty calm. When you are in the green zone, at that point, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems are in balance with each other. A lot of people are under the mistaken impression that sympathetic or parasympathetic only kick in when you need them for the survival response, but that's actually not true. They are always working to some extent. So when you're in the green zone in this polyvagal graph, it means that the sympathetic and parasympathetic are in relative balance with each other. You have enough sympathetic energy to put some gas in your tank so that you can pay attention, you can be active, you can respond if you need to, but you have enough parasympathetic so that you can stay calm and relaxed while you are doing whatever you need to do. You can see here that Tanjiro is responsive to the situation, but he's not panicking about it. So he has enough sympathetic energy to be responsive, but enough parasympathetic energy to remain calm and steady while he's responding to the situation. Zenitsu is clearly already in the yellow zone when we're starting this out. He's amped up. He is fully in his sympathetic nervous system fight or flight response. He's kind of doing an oscillation between the fight and flight reactions. He's fighting to try to get this girl to marry him. He also wants to do the flight response because he wants to run away from the next assignment that he's been given.
Hey, are you okay?
So what Tanjiro is doing is he's actually providing co-regulation here, which basically means Tanjiro's nervous system is settled. He's in the green zone. And simply by being present with Zenitsu's nervous system starts to calm down by being in the presence of someone with a regulated nervous system. That's how co-regulation works.
You better?
A bit, but now I'm feeling really hungry.
So this is an interesting detail. So oftentimes when we are very much in our sympathetic nervous system reaction, we lose our appetite because the sympathetic nervous system is focusing solely on the survival response. And the parasympathetic nervous system actually decreases its activity when the sympathetic nervous system goes up. The parasympathetic nervous system is the one that is responsible for your digestive functions. So when parasympathetic activity is way down and sympathetic is way up, your digestive system is not functioning properly. But when you can get yourself more regulated so that the sympathetic comes down, the parasympathetic goes up so that those two systems are back into balance with each other, oftentimes you start to feel hungry at that point.
I'm gonna die! It's over, it's over, it's over, it's over! I just know it! I can't believe Tanjiro and I got separated!
Teruko, you here? It's Shoichi!
Hey! You can't go around yelling like that!
So now that they're inside this house where there is potential danger, there's a lot of threat cues that are coming in. Zenitsu's nervous system is back in sympathetic activation, the fight or flight response. He's amped up, he's yelling a lot. There's a lot of adrenaline and cortisol pumping through his body, no doubt.
I'm not gonna be useful here anyway! So I'm just gonna go find an adult who can help us, okay?
He's leaning towards the flight response here. He wants to run away, wants to go outside. They're trapped inside this house. They can't get out. So flight isn't an option here. So let's see what he's going to do.
You've been sweating, gasping, and shivering really badly.
What about it? I'm doing the best I can here, alright?
Forgive me for saying so, but you're making me really nervous too.
Oh no!
So that's an example of how just like someone's regulated nervous system can have a regulating effect on another person, someone's dysregulated nervous system can have a dysregulating effect on another person. So because Zenitsu is so dysregulated right now, that is having a contagious effect on the boy that he's with. The boy is also getting nervous.
That's why I think it would be best to be as quiet as possible, don't you think?
So here's another threat cue. We're even more amped up. How much further can we go here?
We don't taste good! I'm sure I taste awful! I'm serious! This kid's all skin and bones, so he'd be dry and taste terrible!
How will I know for sure until I have a leg?
Just leave me behind, okay? Make a run for it! I can't.
He's in freeze mode now. He's telling the other boy to run because he can't run anymore himself. So what we've got here is the nervous system is amped up, sympathetic is in full activation, but also the parasympathetic is coming in now too. Freeze mode is when you have the gas pedal and the brake pressed all the way to the floor simultaneously. So there is an intense sense of activation in the body. That's the sympathetic. But there's also an inability to move. That's the parasympathetic.
I'm going to relish using my tongue to scoop your brains out through your ears.
Zenitsu! Are you?
Okay, so there's only so long that the nervous system can stay in that high state of sympathetic activation before it gives up. It can't be sustained forever. So at a certain point, it is going to switch into what we call dorsal vagal, a complete parasympathetic state. So he's falling asleep here. The sympathetic nervous system is no longer activated. This is just pure parasympathetic. It's a pure shutdown state. So what's happening, if we think about this in terms of how a prey animal might be responding to the threat of a predator chasing it, first it's going to go into sympathetic. It's probably going to use the flight response. I'm going to run away from this predator. But then If the predator actually catches the animal, then it's going to switch over to a pure parasympathetic dominant state, which is essentially when the body is shutting down and preparing for death. Shutting down, numbing as much as possible so that it doesn't experience pain, or it minimizes the pain that it's going through as it's being caught by the predator. So that's what's happening right here, is that Zenitsu is going into the shutdown state. We're no longer in sympathetic. We are purely in parasympathetic. This is a dorsal vagal state. Now, in a lot of people, it's not going to be this extreme. If we're talking about the real world applications of polyvagal theory, when a person is in a parasympathetic dominant state, normally we're talking about them being in a depression. So they are not completely knocked out, completely asleep, but they are operating at a state of very low energy. This is why people who are experiencing depression often sleep a lot. It's often why they have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, because in that parasympathetic dominant state, that dorsal vagal state, the body is trying to conserve energy as much as possible, pulling back the energy expenditure, going into the shutdown.
Ah, please wake up! Zenitsu!
So now the sympathetic is back online. In order to actually stand up and move and get activated, he has to have some sympathetic nervous system activation. But it's not the same as it was before. You can see he's not panicking here. He's more regulated.
Thunder breathing, first form. Thunderclap and flash!
This is giving DID, which is a separate subject from polyvagal theory, but we can talk about it here because that's what it looks like. DID, or dissociative identity disorder, is the updated diagnosis that replaced multiple personality disorder. It basically means that within one person, you have all of these different alters, and they're not aware of each other. So one can entirely take over the body and be operational, but then the other parts of the self don't remember when that one part was in the driver's seat. And it seems like Zenitsu doesn't have any awareness that he has this part of him that is very competent, very capable of fighting, using his technique, is strong enough and skilled enough to take down the demon in a single blow. He's not aware that he has that part of himself. If he knew, then he probably would have used it earlier. So it seems to suggest that there's a DID type situation that is going on here.
It's dead!
And then he snaps back into his old self being scared again. So this is really interesting. Oftentimes when DID develops, it is because the person has been through some kind of traumatic experience that necessitates them creating these alters or creating this fragmentation in the psyche so that certain alters can deal with or hold the traumatic material, the traumatic experiences. They can deal with the dangerous and the painful experiences in order to protect the other parts of the self from having to hold that pain or experience that danger. So this alter that Zenitsu has seems to have been created to deal with the dangerous situations so that the rest of him doesn't have to.
When did that happen? What the hell? This is weird!
So So we're back in a sympathetic state now. He's activated. His voice is loud. You can tell he's very jittery, very panicky.
Shoichi, did you just... You saved me! Thank you so much!
He has no memory of what he's just done, which is indicative of DID.
What's going on? I don't like that sound!
Watch out! Cause ready or not, I'm coming through!
Ah! There it is again! That terrifying boar monster!
I found you, demon!
Stop it!
What the hell? Who are you? Get out of my way!
My name is Zenitsu Agatsuma! I'm a demon slayer! The same as you!
Oh? Are you now? Then you should already know! We gotta get rid of that thing at all costs! Now get the hell out of my way!
I refuse!
So now you can see that Zenitsu is in more of a fight mode than a flight mode. There's clearly a threat that's there, but he's not running away from it. He's more willing to hold his ground. He's definitely still in a sympathetic nervous system state here, but it's more fight than it is flight.
Take this! Come on! Move it! Now, you spineless coward! Draw your sword and face me!
The box. I protected it. You told me this was more important to you than your own life. That's why I did it.
That's so nice. Clearly, Zenitsu still has a lot to go through on his journey, but he's showing growth here in that he has the courage to put himself in a dangerous situation to protect something that is important to his new friend. So he's definitely still got a lot of sympathetic activation going on here, but it's only the amount that he needs to be responsive to the situation. It hasn't risen to the level of panic, to the level of freeze that actually inhibits him from taking action when he needs to. He's got just enough sympathetic here so that he can do what he needs to do to keep the box safe for Tanjiro. Now, you may think that polyvagal theory doesn't have any relevance to your life because when's the next time you're going to be in a haunted house being chased by demons? But always remember that the nervous system doesn't actually know the difference between a demon that is chasing you and a stressful email from your boss or a upsetting conversation with a family member. The nervous system will respond in the same way to those threat cues. So, if you are dealing with a lot of stressors in your life, or if you have dealt with a lot of stressors in your life historically, you have been going through these same nervous system responses. I talk about this all the time on my Instagram. The amygdala is going to set off that emergency alarm, whether you're being chased by a grizzly bear or you just got a cryptic calendar notification for a meeting and you don't know whether you're going to get fired. So remember to have patience with your nervous system. Do your best to try to understand what is going on in your nervous system. And remember that there is nothing wrong with you. This is the way that your body was designed to respond to stressful experiences. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little explainer on polyvagal theory. If you have questions about it, please put them in the comments and I will try to answer them as time allows. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe so that you see more of my anime and trauma and mental health related videos. And also let me know in the comments, what anime do you want to hear me talk about next? Have a wonderful week and I will see you soon.